Dogs of Warcry is a podcast from the Mortal Realms focusing on Warcry, a fast-paced cinematic skirmish game by Games Workshop. You can expect discussions on gameplay, rules, homebrew, lore, painting, terrain, narrative gaming, leagues, and events. Welcome to Dogs of Warcry. In this episode, we're going to be talking about Mike's Madcry 2 Excavating Emberguard event that just passed this last weekend for us. Went a lot of fun, lots of good stuff, and we'll definitely have him share a lot about how he came up with it and everything else. And as you can all see, Vint is back with us this episode. Yes, technical challenges overcome. How are you guys doing?
I'm good, Josh. How are you?
Excellent. Thank you. Right, exactly. No, it's always the post-event, like,
You can spend all of your obsessive time focusing on the next thing you want.
Right. It's a great segue into the Forge of Mithraxis. What kind of hobby stuff have you guys been working on? Obviously, the event, but please elaborate.
I was working on a ton of boards. I'll show them when we go over the event a little bit later. But lots of different boards. Some reuse some of them, but I always try to do new boards. I love terrain in general, so was working on kind of a Skaven-y type board. I have a couple of different like Skaven themed boards, like from the Skaven Tide, but this one I was working on one called based on Chakrick's Folly, the location in the Ravaged Coast. So I used a ton of like Goblin Town terrain. That terrain is just incredible. I think I got like 4 sets of it. I only used like 2 of them, and I want to get the rest of it ready to go just because it's beautiful for Warcry with multi-layer and like nice wide bridges that you can like stand on. And not like, as much as I love the terrain, and I truly do, this is not me throwing shade subtly. I'm not throwing subliminals at it. I do like it, but it's hard to stand on those rope ladders with like anything above like 32 mil or near things. So was working on that one. Yeah, I'll show you a couple of other boards. But this week's obsession after the event ended was there's another tournament coming up in Twin Cities, August 9th. So I'm trying to finish the warband that I originally wanted to do for Adepticon, which is going to be a whole spider-based monster killers / cruel boys combo stuff. So lots of different allies, lots of get bashes. That's really fun, trying to come up with different ways to.
Paul would be proud.
And yeah, I've been sending them to him. He gets to see all of them. He gets one of the few people that gets to see them early, just because I know it makes him happy. So. I think they're so far all Paul approved. So that's
excellent.
You can't get any higher spider praise than Paul approved, right? So the other thing I've been doing is trying to find storage for all of my event stuff. Just slowly, just gotta get it all out, and you're like, oh, it's gotta go back. That counts as hobby, right? Trying to organize your space,
right?
How about you, Vint? What have you been up to?
Lately it's been kind of a mishmash of things. I've been building some Stormcasts, expanding on the first Madcry event, where I ran Anvils of Held and Hammer. I've been reading the book Anvils of Held and Hammer. I'm a ways in. It's very good. And then lots of Zangors again. I know when I first started on this podcast, that was the talk, and then we were doing the Year of Zeech and all this stuff, and I was like, it had all been in boxes, and then I saw that they came out with it in 40K, and it's always been a dream of mine to be like, I want to play AOS in 40K, and here we are. Now I have a Zangor Mutalith Vortex Beast detachment. That's just living the dream, and it was
Perfect.
Gotten a couple games in with it. It's super fun. I've also cracked out. I want to get through a lot more of my backlogs. That's how that works. And I've been cruising through, and on my hobby desk, I do have some Cypher Lords and Corvus Cabal models coming up soon, and I'm going to see what I can use as Chaos Lords and find other uses for those models because they're such good kits. And if nothing else, then they're just going to go right back into Warcry until we get told we can't use them anymore for real. So
They can't. They're
Right.
not coming to the
Right.
store. They can't stop us, man. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll hide it. We'll play secretly with the Cypher Lords.
Well, and I
Yep.
know that Josh has been working out, so like I'm pretty sure if they come, they better bring help. Just saying.
We'll use that secret Cypher Lord's third hand out of the sleeve to tuck them back in when they show up.
It's like I've got a
Exactly.
hand grenade. Get away from my models.
Right. Yep. That's right. It's the next Halloween costume. Wear your arms, and there's a fake one. All right.
Yeah. The holy hand grenade of Antioch. Here it is.
Josh, I do want to see that now. I want to see you full Cypher Lord kitted out. I want to see like the, like the big, like when you turn around, like the big, the fan on the head, and and then what do? Don't they poison and indoctrinate people into? Yeah, it's just a little bit of.
Just need some madness. That's all.
I got some Jello shots left over, so you can hand those.
That'll do it. Those are potent.
Hey, Cypher Lord approved.
Stamp. That's awesome.
Josh, how about you?
So since the last episode, it's still the same thing. I was working on getting my terrain at least painted for the event, and succeeded. There's a lot more to go on it to make it approval from me in terms of like weathering and other details that I'd really like to have. So, but it was sufficient for the event. So it looked good.
Yeah, it looked awesome. Thank you so much again. That was very, very helpful so that I didn't have to paint an entire board of mining equipment. Really made my life easier, and it looked fantastic as always. So
Even Dan said he liked that label a lot. So that was good. That was fun.
I was bummed I didn't get to play on that table.
It was fun, but yeah, even when I played on it, we weren't up in the upper platforms either. It was all underneath.
It feels thematic, right? Like you're playing under the bridges, it kind of gives a whole different vibe. You can't get your tape measure in there. You're trying to move a guy, put wound tokens down. You're knocking the terrain over. That's part of the true and authentic Warcry experience.
Exactly.
You're not playing if you're not ruining the board.
Interactive environment.
Dynamic environment.
Especially with the trees, grabby. At least these weren't grabbing you too much.
Speaking of being grabbed by trees, Visions of Madness. You guys ready to talk some speculation?
Do you want to do games we've been playing before that?
Oh boy, okie do I.
Unless you're desperate to get into it, man. I'm fine with it. If you're having visions that are this strong, I should let you get them out.
Been drinking those Jello shots?
That's it. Yeah. Some kind of Oracle Vint.
Yeah. Cypher Lords, man. I tell you, you hang out with them like one time.
Yep.
So what kind of games have you been playing, gentlemen?
Yeah, Josh, you're
Mike.
on a roll. No, you're on a roll.
All right. Well, fortunately, I didn't get to play in League this week, but I did get to play in Mike's event. I took my Dark Oath Savagers straight out of the box. No additional heroes or anything, and I had 2 major victories and 2 minor losses. Not too bad. So, but they did really well. 10 models, really good at objective holding, pretty decent at killing and stuff. They suffered a little bit against Dan's 2 allied, beat down list. But he also had some good quads. So that helped.
A little bit.
And that was the game where my Godspeaker, I got 1 wild die out of the whole 4 turns.
But you did not fulfill your oaths.
Her magic blast though killed his leader over the course of 3 turns. Zap. He even ran. I was like, no, this is my moral victory. I ran over there. Zap.
Play 6 more of them in a list, Josh. Doesn't this chapter? One of them does that well. What if you had 6 more opportunities every round? You could kill 7 leaders per game. I don't know how the math works out on that.
Yeah. The 4th game, she did it again. She was rolling crits, just killing off leaders and other models with her Sorcerer's Blast. I was like, okay, all right, I respect.
When you go from that, you're like, all right, let me chuck a dice. You get 1 hit, and then they go, all right, that's not that bad. And then you boxcar them on the next one, and all of a sudden, whoa, 12 damage on 2 dices. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
nasty.
So
She
yeah, a
was
lot of fun games, a lot of fun missions. Yep. Yeah, exactly. She got the eye. Look into it. You were found wanting. How about you, Vent?
Aside from the 40K games and some kill team games I've been getting, I did do a teaching game not too long ago of Warcry. One of my friends that plays D&D, that plays D&D with me, was like, "Hey, I'd be really interested to do a teaching game of your Warcry," and I said, "Sure." So we set stuff down and played it, and I referenced him to catch up on our podcast, of course, but also to look into talking with like people on the Discord server. I don't know if he's jumped in, but he was like, "I'm looking for a cool miniature game that isn't going to be very expensive, but will give me lots of tactical stuff and is a good community." I'm like, "Well, boy, Joe, I got just the thing for you."
Right.
So
I know a
Oh,
guy.
there's such a game. Yeah, out there.
there's such a game out there, and I was like, "Look, I have these models now. You have these models. Look at you go." Um, no,
Cheap.
cheap. Look, you have a group for free. How fast was that? Um,
Right?
but no, it was very cool. He didn't win this game, but part of that was just how it went down.
But hey, you're just too good, Vent. You know, you try and
Honestly,
lose
yep.
and you can't throw. You're just suffering from success the whole time.
I don't know what it's hard. It's hard to bluff 4 6s in a row. I mean, I tried to
This
give
time
him
they
the
don't
weighted
count as
ones.
crits, sir.
Yeah.
Well, I always love hearing about what was the terrain for this one. What did you come up with as a?
So for this one, it was like we had actual pieces of terrain, but like it wasn't. Well, wait. So we had like it was kind of like aquarium style terrain. So it was like rocks and stuff,
Mhm.
and then we put books on top of the rocks. For platforms, because if you're not falling off in a teaching game, what are you actually doing?
Mhm.
And then we had because I wanted to add some walls and like dynamics, so it wasn't just a shooting gallery. I put up like some kill team walls on the pool table we're playing. So,
There you go.
so it was good.
Vent,
That
I'm
works.
glad you. That's everybody here has played. Well, I guess I didn't technically play, but we used the pool tables for the Madcry events. There's that 2 boards over there, so I'm glad. I'm glad we're normalizing pool table Warcraft. It's just your casual game.
Yep.
What are you gonna do? I mean, it's already felted, right? So your
Mm-hmm.
models aren't running around. Your board is gonna stay stationary. If your models fall, they fall on felt, right?
Yeah.
You've got
You're already not spilling beers on it when you're playing because it's a pool table. You better not be getting near, right? So it's it's the perfect Warcry board. Go out and buy a $3,000 pool table if you want to play Warcry at all.
honestly,
Wait, are we sponsored yet? Should we get sponsored by a pool table company?
that'd be
I mean, I made
perfect.
boards to put on my pool table, so I had a 4x8 gaming table for AOS, Warhammer 40K,
Yeah.
and smaller sizes for Warcry. It's great.
We're taking bids. Whoever highest bidder, we are for sale.
I need a really small one to fit in the apartment, though.
Right.
I get like one of the table ones.
Table, yeah. We're
You might find sponsors for that.
working on it. Yeah, we'll figure it. Little tiny
Right.
Warcry branded pool balls that look like Tic Tacs. That
But
All
that's
right,
been
Mike.
me.
How about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mike, how about you?
hey, we had an odd number of people that signed up for Magpie, so I did get to play in the event. Which the morning or the night before, I was like, man, I just really don't want to. I just kind of want to run it. It'll be fine. And then I remembered that my whole warband I painted like specifically for this event, so I kind of designed. I was like, actually, I guess I do want to play. So I was pretty excited about it. But I went back to one of my old favorites. Probably my first ever faction that I played back in the first when I came to the Dogs of Warcry event in Madison after Adepticon in 2022.
Yep, the Excelsis.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, I played Gloomspite, and I made a funky little list. I had everything I tried to like theme it around like Emberstone, because as you'll see, that's kind of the whole event was excavating Emberguard, and it was all about Emberstone. So um, I got to play a Trogoth, and I put a little like the one with like a crystal hammer, and I turned the crystal into an Emberstone. I had a couple of squigs in there that were super fun, and made the one that's got like the horn coming out of his head have an Emberstone horn coming out of his head. So it was cool. It was exclusively, the intent was to play with models that like just really fit the theme of like these Gloomspite coming up from like out of the mines, because they're getting disturbed by the Skaven, or the boxes right there. Skaven Tide, that's it. The Vermin Doom, that's what I was thinking.
Yep.
So yeah, I was playing like 3 squigs. I brought that squig from Mologs, and then I had Rabble
Which is
Rouser.
vicious. By the way.
Yeah, murdered the Godspeaker. Yeah, yep. He was an angry boy. But and then I was just like, let me try to find all the models that like have more squiggy related things. So Rabble Rouser's got wearing a squig skull, and then has 3 more little baby bat squigs flying around him. And then Scaremonger from Gobapalooza, one of them is wearing a squig skull for that one again. So I was like, just let me get as much squig as I possibly can into this list. So yeah, it was super super fun. Actually played decently and had like some cool shit. Like whenever I build, like I want a silly theme, but like I try to build in a way that I'm like, all right, I want to kind of have a plan a little bit, like, or at least like intent in it. So like there was some cool combos in there that I was like, at least I can try and make those combos happen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not just like, here, a double move. Oh, you swing at me and kill me? That was fun. Get a little strategy to it. So they were super fun though. I had a lot of, and Josh and I actually, we got to play in the very first round. And that was where, yeah, the Bat Squig and the Godspeaker got to go at each other. But also, we had a big fight in the middle. And I think at one point we had like 8 models of our warbands all in the center, and soon after that there were like 2 left. It was a bloody mess. It was crazy. It was fun though. Like I don't think I've ever seen it. Like it's like when you get like gridlocked in like checkers or like tic-tac-toe, like everything's touching everything, and it's like I was trying to like figure out sequencing to start a round. I was like, I don't know who to swing with right now. Like everybody's fighting. So it was super fun though. Yeah, I haven't played Gloomspite in a long time, and using models that I've never used before is always a good time, and they're fun to put on the table. They're fun to look at. So
Definitely.
I also did not get to play in League this week. I could have, and I was just tired and wanted to do hobby at home, so I went and hung out for a little bit, and then and then skedaddled.
That's fair.
I had an excuse. I'm so tired from running in this event all week for a couple of hours on one day.
Got to clean up and everything.
Yeah, and nobody helped me at all. It's not like I only did some of the work and everybody helped carry it all. So yeah, tired. With that though, Vint, have your visions come into
much clearer now? Honestly, I feel illuminated.
You look illuminace.
I've been called worse. All right. So hoping for some of the new models to come into the game. I don't know if you guys have heard anything about it, but different models have obviously been added. New stuff has come out, and waiting for some rules updates to see if we can add some of that stuff, because that'd be a lot of fun.
There was the new this week, as of recording 2 days ago, the new Khorne model, the Deathbringer. The good news is when they add things to Warcry, they very rarely take profiles away. So I know AOS is kind of like, are they going to get rid of Exalted Deathbringer and Aspiring Deathbringer and just have Deathbringer, or is this going to be, we're going to get somebody to slot in between the entry level and the advanced level of Deathbringer and have just as a regular Deathbringer? So, but yeah, usually when they get rules for Warcry, they don't get rid of the old ones. So that just means hopefully a brand new one.
Right.
It'll be interesting because he's got that cool. It's technically a shield, but really it's just like I was talking about it with somebody, and I was like, this reminds me of in what was it, the first movie of the newest Star Wars trilogy, Force Awakens, when they just they're like, what would the Death Star iteration look like a third time? And I was like, this is what a gore fist would look like, as they make it bigger, they make it slightly more protective. It's like,
There you go.
yeah,
Yep.
bigger and better, right? So,
Right.
but yeah, hopefully.
Well, we got those two new iDeath models too. The
Oh yeah,
Idol and something else.
yep,
Whether they'll end up in Warcry or not, that would be cool.
yeah.
I think with the gore fist, I think you're exactly right. I looked at it and I was like, my brain went right into sales mode. I was like, how would I pitch this to a Khorne Deathbringer? And I was like, well, you've got your gore fist and that can kill like one guy. But what if you had really big gore fist and you could kill like really get him for sure?
Imagining
And then you
it like
probably even have some
attacking,
protection. That's
right?
not really what we're here for. We're here
No,
for you to like run through like 3 people with a punch.
yeah,
That's
that's
what
what
I'm
I'm
thinking.
thinking of it. Like in an action movie, like he punches through and like there's 3 skulls accumulated where normally there would only be one. It's just efficiency. More blood, more skulls. That's what we're going for here.
Right.
The
Yeah,
Indiana
at least a
Jones
twofer.
scene. Yeah. Yeah, the Indiana Jones scene with he pulls the German gun and like the 5 guys just except he's more like got him on a fork.
That's what we're going for. Yeah, that's Corn's all about efficient weaponry to get that. But he's about that blood, baby.
Exactly.
If you guys read Red Feast,
It's on my list. I have not yet, but it's definitely. I read Harrow Deep recently, and there was Khorne in one of the stories in that, and I was like, "Oh, this is awesome!" And then Dark Oath has some Khornate references, so I was like, "I just got to dig into a Khorne book." That and what was the other one from the Big Khorne one? Noah Van Wyn did it. Interviewed him for the story phase. God Eater's Son, that one too. But yeah. Sorry, man. I just get excited about the Khorne books.
No, so this one I got done with the book and like had like a crisis of conscience because I was like, is Khorne the good guy? Like, is he the guy we should be cheering for in this setting? Like,
Yes,
That's
because
impressive.
I got done with the book and I was like, I kind of want him to win. It's like I know Korgu's cool, like he progresses, right? But like, I see what he's going for here, and I think he's on the right track.
No notes. This is a life well lived. Just the idyllic lifestyle that you could hope for. Also, Vince coworkers send a lot of complaints about it.
Accurate.
Yeah, he was touching my head again. You just feeling the top.
Measuring it. Just
Yeah.
measuring it.
Saying this will look great on the pile. I don't.
I just need a 2-inch rings.
Yours is a worthy skull. What? I said yours is a good break to have today. Good job.
You got a good head on your shoulders.
Yes. Oh.
Oh my.
Yeah. But no, it's the one of the themes in the book is right away you kind of see like if like what if like so Khorne comes to Korgo's Cool and is like, look, I know you're having a problem with my brother's friends, so I'm just going to give you the cheat codes. All I need you to do is not lose. And as you see, like, they progress through the book, you see that there's a, like, very much where Khorne is like, okay, so you've gone a little far. I need you to, like, idle it back so you guys don't lose. Here's the cheat codes again. Remember the cheat codes. You're going to win. You're winning. We're winning here. Keep it together. So I feel like he absolutely has to employ like slaughter priests are really just there to be salespeople. They're like, all right, now I like what you're doing, but like keep it in line.
Was I talking to Dan the other day, and he was saying that he actually secretly feels that Chaos is the most like ordered faction, and I think it it kind of checks out, right? Like there's it's chaotic in the scope of maybe normal life, right? Like you and I perhaps don't want our blood and skulls collected, but they've got a very clear mission statement in the mortal realms, and it's and there's more efficient ways to do it, and you've got to make him the happiest. So it's really just secret Caradron overlords too, right? They're just yeah, following capitalistic goals, but those capitalistic goals are strictly blood and soul related.
Oh boy. Oh yeah. Oh
It's
yeah.
grind set, baby.
Go ahead, Sam.
Nice. Nice. Well, with that picture left in your minds, we're gonna pivot to the circle of paint. Yes, we have decided we're gonna do another hobby-themed challenge. And since Warcry has been in the Ravaged Coast since the last official release last September-ish, we're going to do a hero themed in the Ravaged Coast. We don't have a timeline set yet, but expect something cool.
It does feel attainable. It feels one model. Sure, we can probably get that done at some point and not fail it spectacularly.
Yes, we'll eventually have to set a date, but for now, we'll just put it out there. And any listeners that want to participate and share models in the same kind of challenge, we'd love to see them as well.
Yeah, we can show them on the show. I guess if you're still listening and you're not listening to watching on YouTube or anything like that, there is a YouTube version where you can see all of our. You can put an adjective before it. Faces, however you feel about them, you can decide. But we can show all the pictures and stuff like that. So we'd love to see what people are working on. Just something from somewhere in the Ravaged Coast, be it pirate related, rat related, any of that stuff. It's fun to see.
Rat related?
Wow.
It could. It could. Piratey rat related, definitely.
Yeah. Rats carrying pies, any of these. Making rat. Yep.
3.14 rats carrying something.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Just giving you guys tasty. Josh's idea we talked about before the show.
You're going to make me hungry. Pie of rats? That's for mince meat pie, right? Wait, no.
Oh, I thought you were like, yummy, rat pie, delicious. Anyway, Josh, I'm not going to make it to Thanksgiving with your family this year.
Okay.
Just him up.
I'll be at the next potluck.
Honestly, now you're giving me ideas for the next Madcry event. Everything else is already themed. We might as well pretend it's made out of bits of, Mortal Realm stuff.
Right? This is Crypt Slayer themed, right? Totally.
It's all bones, baby.
Awesome. Well, now that we've made everybody hungry, we're going to move on to the victory condition for this episode. We're going to talk to Mike about this awesome Madcry event that we ran. And it had some good food. No rat pies, I guarantee. We had some pasties cooked by one of our locals. They were delicious.
We don't know for sure that they weren't made out of rat. He didn't say that they were. He also didn't explicitly say that they weren't. And we're not in the business of asking questions.
That's true. They were good. I didn't look too deeply. That's true. All right. So, Mike, I know that you've got some fun stuff to share on your screen. So I don't know at what point you want to do that, but please just kind of give us an overview of what the event, what the theme was and how you kind of came to that.
Yeah. So I think I mentioned it before, but this one was all about, the first Madcry was Tussle in the Old Gnarlwood. So it was a Western themed Gnarlwood event. And I love doing like themes and stuff like that. It gives me a lot of inspiration for like writing for the missions and then like the side quests that we normally do. And then obviously gives you like war bands, different ways to like build fun stuff. And so this time I kind of leaned into where the narrative was, especially with the most recent Path to Glory book. It was just, again, I think we said it last time, Josh, but like that book is so good. Go get it if you haven't. It's just like an inspiration. There's so many great ideas, so much cool lore and stuff like that in there. And then also on top of that, the most recent Underworlds big box release was Emberguard. And so I was like, sweet, Emberguard's in this area. Let's just kind of use it all and kind of tie it all together. So it was Excavating Emberguard was the name of it. But it was kind of based on a few different locations up and down the Ravaged Coast area. So kind of the idea was that the Scaventide, Vermindoom, sorry, I keep mixing them up. I gotta mix them up, fool over here. But basically just kind of uncovered a whole bunch of veins of Emberstone with all of the rat shaking that was going on. That's what I got after my rat pie. I get the rat shakes. But So
the
yeah,
black hunger.
little Soylent,
Good luck with that.
Soylent Green going on. Uh, so yeah, it was just like it was all based on like the missions were kind of like about getting Emberstone, and then I mentioned it last time when we talked about it too, but I usually do 2 side quests for the events. I just think it just gives people a way to engage with a tournament like setting that doesn't have to be about strictly winning in the classic senses. So I try to give people, and then also just to like play with models you don't normally play with. I think if you want to do a competitive event, there's plenty of them that go on, and you can get the super competitive and build the tightest list and the most efficient ones you can, and that's super fun. I do it. I know a lot of people that enjoy it. Some people do, some people don't. But I like to give people an excuse to play models in Warcry that they kind of need an excuse to play sometimes. So I try to create one side quest where you're explicitly picking a model that is doing something inefficient in some capacity, that is actually secretly really good for the side quest. And then I try to think of something that is kind of more gameplay related as well, that is like an inefficient thing that you're not strictly going towards the mission objectives. See, there's an extra objective that won't win you the game, but it is advancing your side quest. And so it gives, like I said, it gives people different ways to play, different avenues to engage. As you both know very well, as you won both of the side quests last time that we did one of these events. So
Not this time, though.
that's
Too
true.
much competition.
You would have won if the person who won both of them chose to take the other award. You would have gotten the first place. I want you to know you were right there. um, so here I'll start sharing it real quick just because I think this is the best way to get into it.
So the packs he puts together are absolutely gorgeous with artwork that he's pulled from places, but the lore describing, is very tongue-in-cheek humor and kind of describes the side events. So yeah, definitely, Mike, please share that with us. That'd be great.
Yeah, it's coming up. There it is. So yeah, it's a lot of work, and it's not always worth the amount of work that I put in. I know they look great, but I have to fight formatting every time, and I'm looking for new ways to do it. So if anybody's got suggestions, I think I might just buy Photoshop at some point to deal with it. So, but yeah, I try to. So the last one was a full-on newspaper that I made, like this old-timey newspaper that had all the stuff in here. This one was just kind of more of announcements, but I try to make it, just like themed. So, make it so you can get your information, but in a compelling way. Like for example, I don't like having monsters at the tournaments. I personally like playing with monsters, but the thing I don't like about them at these events is that there's the potential for like you can just deploy a monster turn 1 right next to the side quest person that one of your opponents is using, kill it round 1, and then they can't even engage with it anymore. And I'm like, I just don't want that experience to happen to people. So I'm like, it's safer to not allow them. But to illustrate that for this event, I said the monsters will not fit in the mines, so cannot be included in lists for this one. And then I like to do, we do it at a place that's kind of right by where I live. It's like the community room in the apartment complex that I live in, and it's a really nice space, and it lets us have a lot of flexibility with like food and stuff like that. So I like to try to provide food and give people the option if they want to. This time, and I got some pictures that I'll show later, but Eric Old, one of our locals who's awesome, very generously volunteered to take that load off my shoulders after I was cooking all night last time, and absolutely crushed it. But made some Cornish pasties, got the miner's lunch in here. But this is all the prizes over here. We had Mastermind, which was the event winner. We had Perfectly Polished, which was the favorite warband. And then the two we'll see, there's the Emberstone Fossicker and the Emberstone Weapon Master.
So at this moment, we should pause and explain the definition of Fossicker, because I had to learn this at the event. So please, you being Australian, share this word with us.
Yeah, it's an educational experience every Dogs of Warcry. You come on by and you learn a brand new word of the day. So yeah, Fossicker. It's funny that when you told me that, I was like, oh, I didn't realize this wasn't like a word that was in a lot of people's vocabulary. But I learned it in Australia, where we used to go out and hunt for thunder eggs, which are basically just like little geodes, like really pretty little geodes that you crack them open and they have cool stuff inside. But we always used to call it fossicking, just kind of like digging around looking for cool stuff. And I was like, that kind of fits here, right? Like, So yeah, that's what the fossicker is. You're fossicking the Emberstone, hunting down the good stuff and polishing them off, and making sure that when you get that fury and enraging rock in your hand, that you've done a nice job. You've got a cool word to describe it.
Exactly.
So yeah, here's the first side quest. So I try to make these ones especially, like, this is the more narrative side of it, right? It's meant to be. And so yeah, again, if you're listening, you won't be able to see these, but if you're on YouTube, or I recommend hopping on YouTube real quick so you can kind of see them. Read along. I'm not going to read everything, I don't think, but yeah, I try to make it really nice and thematic for it. So this one was a help wanted sign, and I tried to put it on this nice, like, rusty enamel looking kind of board. It says, we're looking for individuals to mine pure Emberstone. Many new veins have been popping up, including some with hyper concentrated quantities of the purest Emberstone, and we want it. We will pay handsomely for anybody who can bring us large quantities, and we'll reward the one who brings us the most. Very cool. And so this was Josh. Do you want to kind of explain the mechanic for this one?
No, go for it, man.
Okay. So essentially what we did was, in every game there was, shout out to Joe Celtic, for letting me borrow one, had Emberstone clusters, which you used in the Path to Glory, Ravaged Coast, narrative kind of system that they have. So he let me borrow those. So we put one of those on a 40 mil base in the center of every board. They're beautiful. We've got the classic, little, like vase filler orange things that a lot of people use for Emberstone, including us.
Yep.
And then basically, if any fighter got within an inch of it, they could pull one of those out, and it's a little bit like a treasure, but you don't treat it like a treasure. There's no punitive action to it whatsoever. It's not slowing you down, but you can only carry one, and you couldn't drop them because, again, you're like mad with it. You're like, yes, I got it. And it makes you a little crazy. So, and you could only pull out 5 of them. So whoever had the most at the end, you track your score essentially. So there's up to 5 points you could score by pulling them out. You could also, once you're carrying it, if somebody attacked you and they hit you with a hit or a crit, they could steal it from you. And it was a lot easier to hit those individuals because while you're holding the Emberstone, to represent that kind of like fury and anger that it gives you, you would get +1 to your strength, but you'd also get -1 to your toughness because you're a little bit reckless. So it made for a really interesting, very bloody, but kind of interesting dynamics. So, like, am I going to pick it up right now? Do I want to steal it off at this point? Because if I'm attacking you, you've got that minus toughness, right? And so there's a lot of, like, I try to make it so it's very tight rules writing, so, like, people don't, like, have to have too many questions about it in there. So I won't go through all of it, but then whoever was carrying, whoever was near it, at the end would get extra 2 points for their Emberstone haul to become the best fossicker. So I will say, though, there was also, I had a disclaimer for this company that was looking to hire Emberstone fossickers. Disclaimer: Emberstone is highly dangerous, and oh god, I can't remember how I said this name. In Gralder's Rockhounds assume no liability in the event individuals are maimed, slain, dismembered, disfigured, disemboweled, injured, damaged, deformed, scarred, spoiled, deconstructed, skin flayed, hurt, wounded, harmed, crushed, mangled, mutilated, ensconced, entombed, encumbered, soul stolen, saddened, or otherwise negatively impacted. Felt it was necessary to have that in there.
It is definitely
Made
cover the bases.
Exactly, right. We're a no liability podcast over here. So that was the one of them, and that was the one where it's like you're engaging in the actual in the game, in the mission and stuff like that, to see playing a little bit differently than you would against the objective in some instances.
Right. Yeah, because it brought people to the center to get towards the cluster to try to grab the Emberstone, even if that wasn't necessarily the mission at the time. So
exactly, yeah, and kind of the thought behind that too was the way that I wanted it to be, like, that when you do these, you can't make them, like, too inefficient, because, like, you don't want it to be too costly because then, like, people might not engage with it. So it is a little bit tricky to try to find that happy medium. And credit to Dan Salty C. This was an iteration of, he did a goose chase a couple of years ago that we went up for. That I think, did you go to that one too, Josh? You were there, right?
I wasn't there for that one.
Okay,
but Vin was, yeah. I think,
me, Vin, Eric, and I think Miles, Eric's son, were all up at that one. that was super fun, and that was Dan's idea was if you make an attack action, you steal it, and I was like, let me just kind of add a layer onto it. Really cool for like having stuff pass around, and it was a really neat idea. So
I still have that goose.
There were
nice.
I love he had all the different animals. I think I played on the pig board 2 times, and I enjoyed that a lot. Little piggy trying to pick it up. So then this was like the list building side quest. So this one was called Experimental Weapons. Calling all masters at arms, the recent Blood of Emberstone reserves has allowed us to explore some experimental weapon design, and we are in the market for some field testers to determine the efficacy of many new Emberstone offerings before they are made available to the public. Those interested may come by Embersmith's Lodge to select their preferred tool, which they shall explore the capabilities of this new, with which they shall explore the capabilities of this new material. Any providing exemplary research will be compensated for their time. We ask that those individuals of significant skill or those who are blessed by any of the gods refrain from participation, as such instances are prone to skewing data in unhelpful ways. That was my nice way of saying the limitations were you couldn't bring a fighter that was more than 145 points. Too skilled. They know what they're doing. They're professional. Also, secretly, the reason for that 145 point cutoff was so you couldn't bring Vexmore for this specific thing.
Excellent.
It was 100% the main reason why I picked that specific point number. And then I didn't want Divine Blessings because, as you'll see, basically what we did was completely replace what your weapon profiles were. Whatever normal weapon profiles your fighter had, they go away, and you pick one of these 3 options. And I just felt it would really homogenize stuff. If like, oh, I want my guy to live a lot longer, so I'm always going to give him wounds, or I'm going to give him an extra attack, because the whole point is to like give extra damage and stuff like that. So I was like, let's get rid of that. Let's make it very much an experiment, and just trying to find cool fighters that kind of fit these parameters and do interesting things.
Yeah, it was fun. So, I think it was enjoyable to have to which profile do I want? Which model do I want? How does it fit best? Yeah, it was a neat little tactical challenge.
And I was super surprised when I was making this. Like mentally, I was like, "How do I convince?" So I have I'll read these and then I'll kind of explain a little bit too. So there's 3 of them. There's a sword, a hammer, and a flail, all made out of our beautiful Emberstone. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. So the sword was 1 inch range, 4 attacks, 4 strength, and then 3/3 damage. So no crits whatsoever, but it's very, very consistent. You're chucking dice and you're doing 3 every time, which is very good. Then there's the Ember Hammer, which is a 2 inch range. And obviously the longer the range is, the less damage I kind of had to have it do, because if you're engaging, with 145 points, you're usually a little more delicate. So I was like, all right, I want to give people the reward if they get in there. And maybe don't last as long. They have to do damage to make that appealing. So then the Ember Hammer, the 2 inch range, 3 attacks, strength 6, and then 2/5 damage with that one. So you're not you get some pretty good spiky crits, and I tried to follow a lot of like what GW does when they design weapons too, like a lot of spears and hammers and stuff like that.
Yep.
They have kind of bigger crits and stronger, that kind of stuff. And then we had the last one was the Ember Flail, so 3 inches, so you can really hit a pretty wide range. 5 attacks because you got a whole bunch of balls on that flail. And then only 3 strength, and then 1/3 damage. So this was the one that I actually balanced around as much as I could to try to make it like all of them as appealing as each other. And I don't think anybody took the Ember Flail in the end. I was like,
one person. I think one person did.
Okay. Yeah, I was surprised. I thought people would just be like, no, I just want to try to stay alive, let people get in there and just kind of whack them from afar.
Yeah, there were a lot of swords. A lot of
swords, a lot of hammers. But yeah, it was personally, I took the sword. I drew it from the stone, and that was my squig with the Emberstone in its head. He was the one that was like a sword. He just had it stuffed in his head and was attacking people with it. Very, very fun. Josh, what was yours?
Mine was the Wrathmonger. So he had 4 attacks, strength 4, but he had a 1/5 for damage. So I was like, okay, same. Most of the profiles the same, but now it's a 3/3. I was like, okay. Yeah, he also had an ability that could also cause damage, so he was the only one that could do that to add some extra for this particular side quest.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And yeah, so I should say that too. So it was cool because you're looking to utilize these weapons with the abilities that you have, and then the other stats that you have. So any attacks, reactions, abilities, all of those would kind of count, and you're just tallying up the total amount of damage that the party would do. And
Yeah, that was a crazy. The person who had the most, 99 damage?
we tied. So me and the other person, the person who actually won it, I was like, I'm not going to take the award, but it was crazy because both of us had 99, which I thought was like crazy. Neither of us could get one more damage across the entire day. But I think he had the sword as well. Adam, he was, and again, he actually won the other side quest too, and came second at the event. So an incredible showing by him. He drove down to the Twin Cities, showed up, crushed the event, was like, all right, guys, I can't stick around. I got to get home. Just disappeared into the night. So, but yeah, it was that. So he and I, like, we both put up these crazy numbers. And like, one of the things that I was like not expecting to happen with this specifically was that the sword, a lot of people put it on like more delicate fighters. And like, so like, for example, my Swig only had 10 wounds, and I was also like rampaging with a Swig, and like I had some combos like the not the Rebel Rouser, but the I moved it from up there. The new Nash's Swig, the guy with the mustache, and he's holding the Swig from Gloom's fight. He can do like a double to give all beasts like plus one attack. So like, there was some really cool combos to kind of get more value out of it. But yeah, I was like, that's crazy. I got 99, and then I was tallying everything. I was like, whoa, this guy got 99 as well. Like, and then the next person, it was in like the 60s. So it was just, it was really cool to see like how people engage with it and like the ideas that they had. I was expecting a lot of Nurgle, if I'm being honest. I thought people would really value taking a sword with like a 26, 28 wound, just chunky dude. Although you're not getting a lot of damage out when you had to move 3 every time. So maybe that was the the stifling piece of it. But yeah, it was really cool to see just the ideas that people came up with for what to do with it. And yeah, we unfortunately there was no cowboy hats like the last one. I couldn't have custom weapons for all of it. But yeah, it was a neat one. And I won't go through. I'll just kind of show the missions real quick here too. So basically, these are what I do is like I'll take regular missions. Sometimes I'll like make one, but oftentimes I'll just kind of use match play missions that exist. And then I just theme it around what we're doing. So for example, the first one, Uncover the Veins, that was ley lines. But I did kind of like a rework of it, just to kind of make it a little more fair. Because sometimes in that game, like you can get behind and never have a chance to do anything just because you keep losing initiative and you're also losing in the game. You just kind of get screwed over. So I just tried a different little rework of it. But in that one, so in ley lines, you have objectives that are slowly coming online. Each round, you at least have a choice to turn one on if you want to. And I was like, that's kind of like the Emberstone, right? We're uncovering new veins of it. So they said there's supposed to be Emberstone around here somewhere. Search around until you find some so we can start digging. And then, yeah, so just kind of make it a little themey. Second one was, we've been digging, so we're gonna protect the hall, right? So that was that's Dan's mission called Killing Fields. And it was, you got your hands on some Emberstone, but you can feel it starting to affect your mood and behavior. You start to feel irritable, aggressive. This Emberstone is yours. You must hold on to it. And this one, like, there's 5 treasures on the ground, as you can kind of see on the map here. But if you pick up one of those treasures, you can't leave those circles. So it's kind of like, you're just like, you're goleming the whole time.
Yeah, that was a really tactically interesting game because it was like, send my real weak guys out there to grab it. They're standing there with, I was playing against a, the very shooty list from Darren.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, I got to stand here, like with this, holding this thing while he's got all his crossbows coming at me.
That's a tough matchup against the shooting warband, for sure. And
I pulled it off, but it was still. But yeah, it was just like it was interesting because it was like, okay, do I want to grab it or not? But I had to grab them early and bank up points, so that's kind of what I ended up doing. But
yeah, and you get more points for holding the treasures, and that it's a really well designed mission. I do enjoy playing it because there's a lot of my biggest thing in games is like you should be getting interesting decisions to make, whether you're playing narrative, right? Obviously, you're telling stories, but like you're getting choices about how to tell those stories, or the game's helping you decide for it. But like if you're playing it, you should be able to have some interesting choices. And this one is difficult because it's like Well, if you send a guy to pick up a treasure, he's got to stay there. He's no longer able to participate outside of that little area that he's in, unless he has shooting or something like that. So, yeah, there's a lot of really cool crunchy strategy to it. And Dan said he's mad because he was mad that it was in the pack, not specifically this pack, but he's mad it shows up all the time because it is a good mission. He's like, oh, I gotta play it again now, just because everybody.
Right, yeah. Not this one again.
Right. Next one was fill your boots. You've been digging for so long, but now those bountiful glory holes are starting to run dry. Gather as much emberstone as you can before they're depleted. This one is basically there's a bunch of objectives and 2 of them turn off essentially. So we're digging it up, and it's not going to be here forever. Yeah, you gotta dig into those ones. So how did this one go for you, Josh?
This one?
How did this one go for you?
This was the one I played against Dan. It was rough. Yeah, because he got a quad and turn 2 and took out my leader, and then we kind of went downhill from there. But I had the moral victory. I took out his leader with my God speaker. So. He ran like a chicken, and I was like, oh, "No, the gods have spoken."
Just imagining the God speaker Emperor Palpatining over and over again.
Exactly. But I only had 2 models left, I think, at the end. So he did his work.
Okay. This one I made right at the start of this one. I actually played against Adam, who was the one that won both of the side quests. And in round 1, I was like, I'm gonna have you. I won the initiative, and I was like, I'll have you go first. I've only got 2 models. You got 3. Totally forgot that he had Torka Toughskull on the board, who was a netter. And he goes, okay, net your Trogoth. And I was like, all right. That was just a complete brain fart by me. No reason to do that. So.
Whoops.
Yeah, so be it. It was good though. He was playing Cruel Boys. It was a good destruction versus destruction.
Yep. Yeah, Dan too. I managed to take out that netter before he did any work, but yeah.
You got to do it.
This mission I liked a lot. It was really interesting. I hadn't played it before.
This next one, Paranoid Vendetta here.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. So this is one I actually found. Turns out if you go and read all of the material that they've made for Warcry, they have some really good ideas in there. So this was actually from Hunter and Hunted. One of the, I think it's match play.
Yep.
I don't even know if they indicate that it's match play or not. It's match play though. Like and I like choosing match play missions for events just so that.
Yep.
Fair, right? Like nobody can.
Yep. Just like us. Yeah.
Just kind of, you don't want to accidentally shut somebody out from being able to participate, and usually keeping it within most match play missions, you kind of get a little bit safer. They're driven, they're paid. You don't just play a game. So, this one I'll read. So called Paranoid Vendetta. It's all becoming a blur. The Emberstone is so powerful, but it has changed you. You feel the paranoia start to set in. The longer you hold the precious stone, they're coming for you. No one's going to take it from you. The mission originally, if you want to play it, you can either just check out on War Tally. This whole pack is actually listed in there. If you just go to the the Madcry 2 event, the link to the whole pack is in there. But if you do have the Hunter and Hunted book, this mission is called Vendetta, I think. And so basically, it is so interesting because it's a killing mission. But you do some really fascinating stuff. So the whole before the battle, you choose 2 of I can't remember. Is it yours? 2 enemy
conspirators.
Yep.
Yeah.
You choose 2 people on your opponent's team to be the conspirators. And each time any model kills a model, it becomes a conspirator. So if Josh had a model that was not already a conspirator and it killed one of my models, it would become a conspirator. So you're adding anytime a non-conspirator kills.
It's a little wild because you're like, okay, this one's now a conspirator. Okay, this conspirator's dead. This one's now a conspirator. That one's dead. This one's now.
It does have a little bit of tracking to it, but I think it's worth it. Just because it really does make for this fascinating, gameplay where so the way that you score is not just like, oh, let's kill conspirators. No, you score 1 VP for all of the conspirators that are taken down. So you do want to kill enemy conspirators. However, just remember, they only start with 2. So, right, if they're not killing you, there's a lot of tactical depth in this one. And then you also lose a VP for each enemy conspirator that isn't taken down. So if they're still on the board at the end. So it's like, all right, how do I want to approach it? So there's a lot of different cool options for how you can kind of lean into this mission. whether you want to play a little Cajun, just try to snipe their 2 guys and then not let them kill yours, or if you just want to, hey, let's have a bloodbath and I'm just gonna win the fight at the end. It can be really interesting. So yeah, it's a really, really cool mission. And
It was interesting because it sounded like the 2 Soulblight players did not do as well on this mission, because it was they're good about holding objectives, grabbing treasure, but when it came down to the killing, the gap shot up. There was a difference of 6 between me and my opponent in this particular mission.
For sure.
Because I kept becoming conspirators, and then he had fewer and fewer models. He couldn't catch up and couldn't take him out, so he took a big hit at the end. Yeah,
yep. and that's that's kind of the classic, picking what your warband's going to be. It's going to have strengths and weaknesses, and that's the fun part about it, right? Is trying to play it in a way that lets you do your strengths, and sometimes those weaknesses show up in ways that you hope they wouldn't. So, but yeah, so that's the pack. And then I got a couple of boards.
The locations and the boards and the themes were really fun. I like that.
It was it's one of my favorite things to do. I love terrain. And hang on, sorry, I'm just trying to dig them and remember where I put them. No, it's in. Oh, actually, you want to plug the Discord real quick because I'm going to be sharing pictures from the Discord.
So you can find us at the Mortal Realms in the Dogs of Warcry, in the Mortal Realms Discord server. I think it's Discord/Mortal Realms, correct?
TheMortalRealms.com/Discord.
That's the one.
Easy peasy. Nailed it. Tag team.
Yeah.
That's what. Yeah.
That sums up Josh being like, "Hey, Vin, you want to be on this?" I'm like, "Sure, yeah." And then he's like, "I got you, buddy." Goofy little guy. Oh.
Let me go by order for these ones. All right. So this one, so we had 6 boards. I think we had 10 people show up in the end, but I just wanted to have an extra board just in case more people surprised me right at the last second and showed up.
Right.
So, again, they were all based on locations in the Ravaged Coast. So the first one I had here was Chakrick's Folly, which is, I'll zoom in so you can see it. Chakrick's Folly is a vast, ramshackle, Skaven undercity built in a series of unstable caverns that are packed with large deposits of volatile warpstone. So, kind thanks to Will Sever from Mortal Realms, who has this mat in a larger format for Path to Glory. Told me where he got it from, so I could get a Warcry size one, because you can kind of see there's little, a lot of. It's actually covered a lot by the goblin terrain, but you can see there's kind of scattered
but
around.
It's still, the theme was great.
Yeah. It feels, I used the goblin town terrain, so it looked kind of like a Skaven board. A couple of gnaw holes in there. I know it's technically a cavern, but I put the trees that I had from last time they're gur trees that have it looks like they're absorbing warpstone as they grow, basically. So really fun. I was like, yeah, it works for that board. So that's
one.
It
was a fun board to play on. I liked it.
That was board number 1. Number 2 is Emberguard City. A ruined city sitting atop a mountain, the Vermin Doom. Oh man, it's not coming through. But basically, yeah, Skaven came in and ruined the city. So and that's so Emberguard proper. Whoops, there we go. So another kind of city-looking kind of board here with the warpstone showing through, and then use a lot of the.
And of course, the Emberstone cluster there in the center.
Yep. Yeah, can't zoom any more on it, but yeah, got him right in the middle. That's where the Emberstone's poking through. That's what we're all here for, baby.
Right.
But use the spearhead terrain for this one. This board's actually, I want to do a little more work. I want to put more Skaven graffiti all over it. This was the what's it called? This is Defiled Ruins, I think. Set for the bigger pieces in this one. You can't see it here, but I actually chiseled out stuff to make it look like the Skaven have blown up part of the walls, and you can kind of see up here. There's a little rat. There's rats all over these, so there's some here. There's one jumping here. Little rats kind of hidden all over the terrain to make it feel
right
Skaven-y. So
I love it.
Yeah, that was a fun one too. Where's 3? There's 3. Okay, so 3 was the Mines of Emberguard. Josh, you want to... let me read it, and then you can kind of talk about the terrain. So, the mines below Emberguard are rich with emberstone and replete with mining equipment to harvest the valuable material.
Excellent. Yeah. So we had two different mine themed boards. And so mine was more KO mine themed. So it's got some fun platforms, which we hoped people would use. Didn't come into play for the particular missions we had. but yeah, it was fun to have the tracks and the carts to provide some line of sight blocking stuff, some rocky pillars. The other stone structure on the right hand side of this picture is another mine entrance with some more tracks coming out. But yeah, it was fun and kind of Dan had pointed out that one of the things he really enjoyed about it is that the columns on underneath the walkways made it challenging for certain models of larger base sizes to get through. So there was a tactical challenge for smaller models could pass through, but larger models couldn't. So I thought that was a really interesting dynamic that didn't necessarily come into play when I was playing on it, but something to look out for and a different way to interact with the terrain.
Yeah, and it's cool to have that be like twofold, right? Because you're making it engaging by having stuff like physically on the battlefield, but then it's also giving you that platform. So yes, obviously it didn't get used, at least in the ones that you're in, but you've got that whole the elevation in Warcry is some of the stuff that people.
Right.
I mean, it's what draws your eye to the board, right? When you're looking at it, it's like when Vince playing. That's why he puts the book on top of the rocks. That's why he puts the coffee cup with the stirs in it.
Exactly.
You're making
and there's some enclosed areas and some
Mhm.
places you can get fall off. So it's good to have a mix. Yeah.
Yeah, and it feels like a mine, right? Like you can't really see it super well from this picture, but like this is literally like a it looks like the Fire Slayer's pizza oven face, right? It's just so awesome. Very, very cool board. And again, I appreciate you printing and painting and bringing it for you because for the event, because it really does look fantastic. And I did not get to play on it, although just a note, you can see here, this is one of the pool table boards. You can see the pockets. But yeah, I'm excited. Hopefully, you bring that one to League Night soon because I want to mess around with that one.
yeah, definitely.
And then board 4 was the Grimhold. So this is another one off the map. Magma Hold serves as a capital for the Hermdar Lodge of Fire Slayers. The recent uncovery of Emberstone veins has stirred the Dwarden to create a mine of their own. So this is mostly just Red Harvest terrain. I painted it for instead of Bear Knight, I think is red normally, right? That was Red Harvest. But I painted it all to be orange and tried to put some black cinders in there for it to look like Emberstone. Emberstone cluster, of course, in the middle of the board again there. And then, just kind of was a fun. The Red Harvest terrain is great. I think this is like a box and a half of Red Harvest shoots. Yeah, I ended up getting another one for myself, and it is really nice to have a few more of those pieces to play with. Because they are great, and it's nice when you're not limited by having 4 of them. You can really get creative with it and stuff. So, and then we had the Forge Anathema, a great fortress and vast forge complex that has recently seen massive fungal blooms as a result of increased warmth from the bountiful Emberstone. So this is Zach's board, local player for us, Zach. Unfortunately, couldn't make it. He was at a wedding, but very kindly allowed us to borrow it. And he actually hand painted this whole actual board. Again, if you're not watching on YouTube, at least go over there and look for this part because it is so cool. He literally
beautiful
hand painted this whole map for it on canvas, and then he's got a bridge, got all these tracks again. Got another. You can see like the kind of cave mine entry up this way. And technically, the Forge Anathema in like the lore doesn't have mushrooms in it. That's why I kind of add a little blurb. I was like, all right, this terrain's got a bunch of mushrooms. It's so warm. The mushrooms are blooming. That Emberstone has warmed it up a little bit. So took a little creative liberty for this one.
Exactly.
And you can't actually, this was before the Carnage, I think, but right around this Emberstone here, this is the killing zone for Josh and I. That's where we had approximately 15 models die in 4 minutes for our game.
Yeah. The river ran red.
Right? And then the last board, I think I mentioned it in the last one. I was trying to make a board that was all based in Skull Pile, which is an old corn, or it's a corn city. And I had a skull roller and was trying to make like literal like boards with skulls all over them. Spent a lot of time on it. Didn't end up panning out. Broke the skull roller. I think I told you last time. It's just going to take a lot more work to make it happen effectively. If you've got any tips about how to roll, it's not rolling in XPS. It's not rolling in the foam board and keeping enough detail that I need. I tried to put like some matte modeling paste down and roll over that. It was super hard to make it happen. So ended up, instead of being in Skull Pile, we just took it to Skull Pile's outskirts. We shifted outside the city a little bit. That's why there's no skulls on the ground. It's just
A big one. A couple big ones.
That's true. Yeah, they didn't make it all the way into the city yet, but this is the outer regions of a holy city dedicated to Khorne and built around a towering pile of skulls. If you couldn't tell by the name Skull Pile, that's with one L, by the way, in Skull Pile. Skulls have been brought from as far away as Gur to honor the blood god. Fortuitous that is actually, again, in the wiki. Shout out to the Age of Sigmar wiki folks. That place is awesome. So much cool stuff. I saw this icon on the map and I was like, I wonder what that's about. Found a bunch of cool blurbs about it. I have painted the magma draw, and then this is from this skull up here that's used as a bridge. This is from one of my 5 maw pits that I have that I did not include the skull on. So I was excited that literally in the lore it says that they have skulls from Gur, and I was like, that's great because that's where my terrain is already painted from. So
right.
So we got the newest Slaves to Darkness terrain up here that I've got painted in Khorne colors. Obviously the skull altar for Khorne. And then this was one that I created. It's not fully done yet. I got a little more to do with it, but this is the cleansing aqualith without the stairs. And then I've painted all of the water as blood instead, and then taken one of the judgments of Khorne. I can't remember. Vince, what's the name of the skull, the bleeding skull heads?
They're like the Hex Gorge skulls.
That sounds right.
Yeah, I'll check.
Okay.
One moment.
But yeah, I glued one of those skulls to the top of it, so it looks like I can't zoom in anymore on it, but so it makes it look like the skull is what's actually creating the fountain. It was just a really fun, creative piece to put together. So, I think only one game ended up happening on this board, but it was I'm bummed. I think it would have been a fun one to play on too. So.
Hex Gorger skulls.
All right, hey, you almost was that? No, that is what you said, right?
I think so.
Yeah. Oh, look, we're giving you credit.
Yeah. Hex. He had Hex. I had nothing. So
exactly.
It's great.
Right.
Yeah.
Same. I had skull. I did get the skull part. I'm taking credit for that.
And
if
we wouldn't have known, we'd have had to call up our buddies and be like, "Hey, what the hex is this?"
Nice. Good plug. Great plug.
Well, thanks, Mike. Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun.
I got a couple more random ones, so that was all of the.
Yes.
Hang on. I realized I stopped sharing. I got the pictures of the award winners, and then real quick, I got first up.
You can see Mike's costume.
Yeah, that's right. I talked about it last time. This was the awesome pasties that Eric made for us. Absolutely crushed it. It was truly disconcerting when we were having lunch. Everybody got their pasty, and like in the room that we're in, it's normally so loud and echoey. It was dead silent. Everybody was munching it. It was so quiet. It was really bizarre. But it was just a testament to how good they were. But yeah,
hungry people,
right? It was classic miners lunch going on here, and then again, just because I am absolutely beholden to a theme and pushing it way too far, I picked a bunch of orange food. So we had I actually did buy 4 cantaloupes before this, and they did not get ripe in time, and they've only just started to ripen on my counter. So I've got a lot of cantaloupe to eat since I didn't get to make them. But I was like, that'd be nice, jagged shapes, perfect emberstone. Didn't have those, but I wanted fruit, so we got some cuties. We got some popcorners, queso. We got some Doritos, of course, some Cheez-Its with the extra cheese dust on there. And then I bought some rock candy because I was like, when's the last time anybody had rock candy? And it looks like Emberstone. So
those are popular. Yeah.
I still got a couple left. I'll bring them to league night. We can finish them up. And then we had some carrots, of course, more orange, some sun-kissed. Ignore the dip, and then over here was I made 2 different kinds of. I like to just people they call it beer and pretzels game. If you want to have some beer and pretzels, we got this time we had Jello shots and rock candy. So I made some brandy and some whiskey old fashions. Kind of again they're orange looking Jello. I was like that's kind of Emberguardy. So
yep.
That was the spread, and then I think the pictures. No, hold on, let me find it real quick. And here, You sent them to me, Josh, and I know.
Yep.
There it is. So once, oh, actually, hold on. I actually touched them up because we were standing in a terrible spot for you to take pictures of, right against
The
the
lighting.
window, in the middle of the
Yeah.
big sunny day.
Yeah, I tried to darken them a little bit, but it was just, it wasn't working well there.
No, and so like I said, I ended up touching them up. On the other side, nope. All right, I can't find it. I'm not going to make everybody sit and wait while I'm doing it. So, let me just pull up the ones you had there. So, share again. So this was a picture. This one was the only one that got caught in the middle of like saying something. So that's Adam. So Adam was the one that won both of the side quests. So for the Emberstone Fossicker, what happened was they were so pleased with all of the work that the winner did from all the mining that they gave them a job. So he got his very own Varanite Siphon mining camp pit dredger camp to go and do some work on when he's done.
Exactly.
Yep. Put
him to work.
Just, sometimes it's not a good thing to show how effective you are at something. Obviously, there's the costume there. I got my hard hat and my my high vis vest for working in the mine. Safety first, Then this is Darren. He was playing with the Wilder Corps. He came down. Actually, so Adam came down from Twin Cities. Darren came down from Twin Cities, so he was the Emberstone Weapon Master. That was, again, they were so pleased with all of the work that he did to see how effective the weapons were that he actually got to join the clan of the Vulcan Flame Seekers that were doing it. So got a box of those as an award for it. And then this is Salty Seed Dan. He was the event winner. He was tired. He'd been working in the mines all day. Mastermind. He was worn out. So hydrating, of course, with some refreshments. And then this is Eric, who did all the cooking for us. He's a local for us. And their awards were just kind of whatever. I have a handful of different things just for picking for those. I like to have the side quest awards be specific things, like, because it fills that narrative role. But then for the winners, I just kind of keep it open. So he ended up getting some Jade Obelisk in for having the favorite warband. And actually, I don't know that I have a picture handy. But he did his Iron Golems, which have this incredible display board where he's like, basically, we could have played on it. It was that good.
Yeah. It was in the mines with the forge. Yeah, it was very well done.
He's got a mine cart. He's got 2 levels to it, and all of the Iron Golems have Emberstone on their bases, and it's just beautifully. He's a really excellent painter. And again, excellent book. Really appreciated all that he was able to offer us for this event.
Right. Yeah. No, very well done.
All right. Anything else that you guys want to add? Because I've been talking for a long time. Sorry.
Oh yeah, no. Now it's time for us to grill you with questions.
Oh boy! All right.
Yeah. Here we go. You thought you were safe. No.
Well, I'll start with one, and then we'll let Vint tag in. So, much like you asked me when we talked about the Adepticon event.
Yeah, shoes on the other foot. I regret it all.
What's your proudest accomplishment?
I think for this one, it's I just enjoy so much executing on the theme, and everybody that I've talked to about it just was so happy with the theme of it, both sharing it online and the people at the event. And again, wouldn't be possible without like you and Zach, especially helping out with the boards, and then Eric helping out making awesome like themed food and stuff. But like just having people enjoy it, that's why I do it, right? I charge people to do this just so I can like try to cover some costs. It doesn't get close normally because I just end up going too over the top and making it what I want it to be. But like I really do enjoy planning these things. And so to hear people like Dan when he saw your board, Josh, and he literally exclaimed like, "Oh my God!" like loud in the room. It's so cool, and I was just like, that's what I want.
Right? Yes.
That's the feeling that I want people to feel when they come to these events and stuff like that. And yeah, so that definitely being able to execute on that part of it, that's the whole reason why I do it, and I feel very proud to be able to land in that spot, or at least close to it. There's always something to do better, but yeah, getting for the moment.
Right. All right, Vint, what you got for him?
You took the nice one. What there's this nice question, and then there's like So, what lessons did you learn?
There's always something.
What was a disaster?
Do you have?
Boy.
Could you tell me about a time? This is like the part in the interview where they're like, "Can you tell me about a time where you've absolutely failed and been a
Yeah.
miserable sack?"
Yeah, so secretly, one of my failures is actually one of my biggest strengths. It's
Right,
on the
right.
interviews. I know how this works.
Plot twist.
He works at HR. It's not fair.
Yeah, I think for learning for this one, I mean, I it was a learned lesson from the last one, but I embraced it in this one. So that's not the answer, but I'm going to say it anyway. But letting other people help, it just makes such a big difference. And just like trying to organize, I think, trying to be a little more structured so that it's not all just like in my head, because there's a lot going on, especially on the day. Josh, you showed up early to help set everything up, made a huge difference. And just to let other people like help like clean up at the end and just like kind of give them direction and stuff. Yeah, learning to embrace that instead of just going like, no, it's all good, I got it, because it means we all have more time to do stuff after. We didn't even mention we went to go get Korean that I wanted to go get last time, but was super busy and we had way more people, but we did end up getting it this time. More spicy hot food. Josh, how was that, by the way? We went to K Peppers in Middleton. Shout out.
It was delicious. Yeah, no, I loved it. Then I had the rest the next day for lunch. It was delicious.
Yeah, it's lucky to live by it. I try to go any excuse I have. So, but yeah, I think Vint, is that a good enough lesson for you? Is that?
No, I got one to add to that.
Yeah.
So I think the first mission, I think there was a consensus that we had the way that the objectives activated, we ended up with a tie so many different turns that we only had 2 objectives for the whole game. So I think at one point we talked about, well, maybe it's can turn on, or like the other person needs to choose rather than just to have more options to try to claim objectives in that particular mission. But,
yeah, for sure. Yeah, because the way that it's written now, it's like the one in the middle is always on. And again, this is leyline, so I was just trying to make it more fair. And this is classically what I do is I make sometimes missions so fair that it almost becomes a requisite stalemate. It's like it's so tight that it's like actually there's no room for granularity and to get some some progress sometimes. But yeah, I think for that one, definitely want to try to rework it. Talk to Dan a little bit about it, potentially doing like moving the deployments a little bit, so maybe you can't guaranteed get on one in the first turn, because what happened in most games with either and there is some skew too, like if you're playing like a really killy warband, you don't want objectives on, so maybe and as it is right now, there's the potential for only one person to ever pick still technically, and if they just want to kind of tank their score so that nobody ends up getting an advantage, so the catch up mechanic of turning another one on doesn't work, they can. So maybe just guaranteeing that the other person has an opportunity to turn one on so they get to choose it. Just gives a little bit more, and it may not change the actual game, but at least it gives the opportunity, because not every game is going to play out like, okay, I don't want to turn it on.
Right. No, exactly.
But that's also like, that lets you pick how you want to engage with that mission in a really cool way. So I'm definitely going to rework that one a little bit. I don't think it's too far off, but definitely, thank you for bringing that one up, because that was definitely, looking at the scores after round 1, I was like, there was technically no ties, but all of like the score differentials, which is like the first tiebreaker for the event, was super low. And I was like, all right, well, because you and I played that one, Josh, and it was what, a 2-point difference, and it was only in the last round that we broke the stalemate. So definitely learn, and it was the first playtesting had really done on it, so I'm glad it wasn't a disaster.
Exactly.
At the same time, got some good feedback on it to help iterate for the next one for sure.
But yeah, no, but I couldn't. Everything else seemed to go really smoothly. A lot of fun. That was the only one where you and I had talked about it, and we talked about it with Dan. And we're like, oh yeah, maybe that one we could tweak a little bit, perhaps, make it more flexible in terms of giving people opportunities. But
yeah, and that's the cool thing, right? Like you can either change the mission a little bit, or you can change the deployments a little bit, and like there's just so many different like tiny little knobs that you can turn that can really make a big difference. And you don't want to turn too many of them sometimes. Just turn it into
well, it's nice, because we'll do something, everybody learns from it. You do something, we learn from it. Dan does something, we learn from it. And then we all kind of improve and change and, end up, elevating the game, so to speak, which
Absolutely.
is nice. Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. The collaborative nature of people who are like doing events and creating stuff is really cool. And yeah, I mean, I hope people again like two of these missions were just like copied out of Dan's title pack, the second and third mission. I can't remember if I said that before, but and then yeah, one of them is just from Games Workshop. So like there might be stuff on that Vendetta one. There might be stuff to add to it that might make it even better. I do think it reads so simple, but when you play, it is a kind of a very tactical, like thinky mission, and it doesn't seem like it would be at all. So maybe it doesn't need extra stuff, but I would love to see if anybody comes up with some new ideas for it too. All right, what
Awesome.
else you got? Yeah, all right, bouncing off
Yeah.
my chest, Superman
Yeah.
here.
So I got one
Next
for you.
question.
What was
Oh,
your
nice.
playlist this time?
Oh, all right. So after spending hours cultivating a playlist for the last one and not being able to play it, I didn't do that this time. Lesson learned from the last one. I didn't do that. Darren from Twin Cities came down. He was staying with me. He ended up finding. Oh, I can't remember the name of the game now, but he put this awesome.
Oh, I took a picture of it. Hold on.
Did you?
Hold on.
Okay.
Is it Deep Rock Galactic?
Yes.
It is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That was it.
Yep. We put the soundtrack.
Found the soundtrack for it.
And and really back from my D&D days, I should have thought about it. You can just put like ambient mind music on. Like there's always like fantasy playlists of just like dripping and all that kind of stuff, like hammering. So I could have done that. We'll just use YouTube again, but yeah, I still want to I want to do another Western one because my Western play. And if anybody out there's looking for a fire Western playlist, hit me up because this one is spicy. It is. Oof. Yeah, it's not even only the hits, it's only bangers though. And yeah, it's amazing.
Nice. All right. Yeah, no, I don't think I've got any other specific questions. You've covered quite a bit for us, which is awesome.
It's hard to ask questions when I monologue about the whole event for half an hour. So,
You had lots of pictures. That's great. Right.
Pictures
Visualizing it and talking through it.
Yeah.
You can't do better than that.
Yeah.
And I love making this stuff like available. So like if you want to like run a local event or something like that, you have full permission to just copy these packs as is. You don't have to change anything, or you're welcome to if you want to. If you have questions about like how to run it or like anything like that, like, hey, what did you mean by this? Feel free to reach out. I would love it. It would make me even happier than running the event is if somebody else saw it and was like, I want to run that event specifically. So again, it's on, if you go on wartally.com, right? Oh, is it .com? It might not be .com. Hang on. Let me double check. Wartally. Yeah, it is .com. Okay. If you go into the Warcry tournaments in there, the Madcries are both in there, so you can see both of the packs that I made with the side quests, with all of the rules, and then with all of the missions and stuff like that too. So feel free to peruse at your leisure and steal and iterate whatever you feel you are inspired by.
Awesome. And I guess I do have one follow-up question.
Yeah.
What's your next project?
Ooh. Well, so timing wise, we're looking at what are we in June right now? Then the next one I think is going to be right around September, and I don't know if it's going to be the same as the normal Madcries because there's kind of another thing going on around that time.
Yeah,
do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, Mortal Realms Con.
Yeah, September 13th and 14th. I think 13th is going to be the Madcry event, and then 14th. Josh, are you bouncing a question back to you? Are you doing anything on?
We're going to do some sort of multiplayer Warcry event, still to be decided upon. But yeah, it'll be the Saturday will be the main event. Sunday will be the follow-up dessert.
And the theme also to be decided for me as well. We've been now that I've got this tournament behind me. We got to work with the lore team for the Mortal Realms Con.
Mortal Realms Con.
Start putting together.
We're going to try to integrate things to tell a bigger story. So that's what we're kind of working on. Yeah,
should be really fun. So that any game that you play does have an impact on stuff that kind of happens later on Saturday, and just kind of we got some cool ideas. I'm excited to see and hopeful that we are able to execute on all of those ideas. We gotta start working on it now so that we're not doing it the week before. So
Right,
but
right, exactly.
we should probably throw that in the description on YouTube for sure. But the tickets are available. I think it's $20 for the weekend.
Yep.
And then you get we're gonna have Path to Glory. They're gonna be there. Path to Story is gonna be doing Path to Glory stuff. There's gonna be Spearhead. There's gonna be Underworlds. And I think the Underworlds event is gonna be pretty unique. I can't remember if they've talked about it, so I won't say anything on it. But they've got some really cool plans for their stuff. That,
Yep.
Yeah.
Supposed to be in a venue with food, drinks available. So yeah, it should be fun. Yeah,
really looking forward to it, and looking forward to coming up with the idea for the theme of our events too.
Well, we have a theme. Yeah, we just gotta.
That's true. Yeah, looking forward to drawing all the lines in that theme, making the picture look good, drawing the rest of the owl,
making the bows, right? Yeah. Exactly. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, Vint, did you have anything else you wanted to?
No, I think at this point we do like the last song on Mike's playlist and sing our happy trails. Josh, do you want to hit the Discord plug one more time?
Definitely. So you can definitely find us all on themortalrealms.com/Discord. We're in the Warcry forum and happy to answer any questions. You can also reach us at dogsofwarcry@gmail.com. And thanks for listening. Thanks for joining me, guys.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Welcome to this website, those blues, missing narratively driven podcast, you'll never turn right. I'll be in fall. We get so lost, dice, rolling, roll, in response, never stolen, no snow to the Dogs of Warcry.